In this video, we will learn about how to set arithmetic expressions, how to use arithmetic expressions. For this purpose, we will be creating a dummy model. Let's call it dummy. No timestamps. I will just enable the post method. Okay, let's set an integer field to this one. Let's give it a name as int. Okay, I will be going to the create dummy object service for this one. We will not be creating it in the database. I will just create a dummy object in memory. Create object. This is of type will be dummy, and I will just return the created object as a response. Okay. And what I will do is the following. In create object, while you are creating the object in memory, you can also set the values of its fields. So you got a one field, integer field. Okay. Let's set its value. Let's assume that we will be assigning like 5. Okay. So this is an expression where we will be assigning a numeric 5 to this value, to this int value. Let's test this thing, how it works. Okay, if I go here, let me remove this thing. If I hit send, as you see, the value of the object field is 5. We can write here quite complex expressions actually, right? We can write something like this: 5 times 2 in parentheses minus 8. Okay, this is basically 10 minus 8 is equal to 2 multiplied by, let's say, 20. Okay, so it should give us like the 40 as a number as a result. Let's run this thing. As you can see, it's 40 right now. What happens if you would like to use like an input parameter to access an input parameter of an object and use that in our expressions? In those cases, assuming that we will be sending some query parameters, let's assume that we've got int param, okay, and this will be of type integer. And in here, what we will be doing is the following. We will be assessing getting the int param, okay, this dot query dot int param times, let's assume, or divide by it by, let's say, 20. Okay, so let's go back here. In the params part, we've got a new parameter, as you can see. Let's put here 100. Let's see what the result is. 100 divided by 20, basically it's 5. So this is the way to use this input object parameters, input object values in your expression. In this case, in this create object, we are getting a request object as input to here. This is the request object, as it names here, model request. And in the request object, we've got different parameters we can use. For example, the int param. Okay. For client, there is the device type. For example, you can also use some, let's say, functions, right, in your expressions. Let's go to the, for example, rounding functions, mathematical functions. You've got a round function. Let's assume you've got here like 25, 45. Okay, decimal places, 0 decimal places. How we will be rounding this thing? Let's round it up, right? Let's put it here 0. Okay, so we will be rounding this thing up, and we will be removing decimal places. So it needs to be rounded up. Okay, let's see how it works. As you see, it becomes 35, right? So what happened? For example, we can also change this thing. Let's go to round function. Okay. Let's assume that we would like to round it down, right? It should be 34 in this case. Times, let's multiply it with 2. Hold on a second, did I make a mistake? Sorry. Okay, this should be 1 times 2. Okay. 68. It's rounded down. This is becoming 34 multiplied by 2, 68. So, I mean, you can in your expressions, you can as I mentioned, I mean, you can create quite complex mathematical expressions using the parentheses to define the execution precedence. On top of that one, you can use functions, relevant functions, but also input object parameters, input object values in your expressions. Okay. Thanks a lot for watching.